Hey guys, these are some mods that I made for my Fusion 3 F-410 printer. Um, I made them sort of out of necessity because my cable needed to be replaced, and upon disassembly the carriage got damaged, and I also noticed that the whole plate here was warped from the hot end because I was printing long periods, high temp, polycarbonate, and ABS, and this whole thing started to kind of warp a little bit, and so I figured I would maybe try to upgrade the carriage at the same time. And what I came up with was this right here. So it kind of functions the same way, but it's um, a single plate design, um, and it kind of just reaches around to the back where the brackets go for the cables. Um, so they kind of attach a similar way to like this one did. Their blocks aren't on there. The cable anchor blocks are not on there. But these are the ones that I've got on mine. So the cable attaches to the center bolt there and goes through that little opening there, and then it laces up and around into this notch right here, which aligns it in the center of the rail, extrusion rail, and that works the same on the other side, and as well as the back side piece here. So there's a little notch there for the cable to sit in, so it's located properly in line with the extrusion. And so basically this whole thing works similar to this one, but it's a lot easier to put on. You swing the eccentric. They're not nuts. You can just grab a hold of them, loosen the nut on the back side here, and then swing them in with your finger, and you can get them snug. You don't need to crank them down with a wrench. The tension on the rail is very minimal, so you don't need to go very tight at all. Finger tight is probably even too much. So just get a hold of it like this and give it a spin until it's located properly, and you can see where the bolts are located on the front. You can make them even, and then I've got this bracket here that locates the limit switch to the back in the same location that the original is. You can see there that it's located, and it uses the same stop on the gantry bracket as the original. So that's how that's what that does there, and it clears the wheel there, and still enough room for the fan to attach, as well as the hot end. So that's that. So this is all designed to make cable install pretty simple. So that's those two things. Second thing I've got is I've upgraded these idler brackets, and I did that kind of on a spontaneous upon realization that this is what happened to them over time, trying to tighten them down, and it's kind of just a rough design, because when you go to tighten down that bolt or you tension up your cables, there's quite a bit of tension on on these. There can be, and this is basically acting as a giant lever, and you have to tighten your bolts down pretty tight to keep it from pulling back in. And what happens is, as you heat up, your cable's length slightly adjusts due to the temperature, and you can end up with a slightly tighter or looser cable. Mine tends to be tighter when it heats up and looser when it cools down. So if I tension them while it's cool, and then I run along print, and then let it cool back down, my cable tend to be loose. So that's why I went ahead and looked at these. I took these off, and I immediately noticed several flaws with this design here. And as you can see, the first issue right there, this is all cracked up. Here's another one, did the same thing. And just adjusting the tension here is really kind of I mean, the idlers don't like to slide in there very easily, and then they can kind of get crooked. Like if it can kind of get crooked like this sometimes. Like mine, I pulled it off and my idler was crooked like that. Not that it didn't work, it still worked, but it's just kind of goofy. So then here's a new one that I bought to kind of check it out and see. When I ordered some new parts, I just wanted to see what they looked like undamaged, or if there are any updates to the design at all. So that's pretty much how they look. And one other flaw that I see with this design is getting the cable on is not ideal, because you have to lace it through the idler axles, and it's not very friendly when it comes to installing a cable. So this is the new design that I've got here. Much more robust machined aluminum piece here, and as you can see, it's a one-sided bracket similar to the carriage that I made, which will allow you to sneak the cable in from the side and tension it much easier, and you can crank it down a lot tighter to your extrusion, and it adjusts similarly to the original. So if you can look at it, the holes do line up. It's a little more compact overall, but the dimensions for the bolt hole locations are the same and everything. But this is just designed to help get this thing more rigid and stay put when I bolt it down, and also make adjustment and cable installation as easy as possible. And here's the left side. So this will be the right and this will be the left side, and same thing on the left side. So that's how that works. Pretty simple. And this will last forever. Where these I'm having to replace as you tighten your bolts down, you can hear them crunching, and that's them failing. Not that you should be replacing them very often. It's just these are all plastic and they're thermally sensitive, and we're printing on printers that get really hot. So that's why I came up with these mods, and there's more mods to come in the future, and I also am putting together a how-to video for installing the cables as painlessly as possible, and these mods definitely are going to be helping quite a bit with cable installation. So stay tuned for the next video, guys. Take care.